25th should be. So it's Man City against Manchester United. A repeat of last year's final, which was a unique final. Man City won it. Was it 2-1? They won last year, I think. So
2-1, yeah, 2-1.
So what are your thoughts now? Man City going for the double. Manchester United after a very poor season, really poor, trouble on the pitch, trouble off the pitch. Water coming into the stadium, getting flooded out almost there last week. But we just don't know on a day. But all logic tells you City are going to win it.
Yeah, all logic tells you, Paul, that City are going to win this game. And look, Manchester United, they've had the worst. And I know people say the first division they had worse seasons, but they've had the worst Premier League season they've ever had, finishing 8th place, no European football. Now, this is Manchester United's chance to get into the Europa League for next season. And the reason why I mentioned why I hope City win is obviously I don't really care for City, to be honest with you, but I need City to win this as being a Chelsea fan, because if Manchester United win it, they actually take our place for the Europa League. If Manchester United win this game, Chelsea will be pushed down to the Conference League, and Newcastle United, who finish 7th for the Conference League, will have no European football at all. So there's going to be two sets of fans that have no say in the game, hoping that City win this game, and I think City probably will win it. But Manchester United, they can be such a funny team, Paul. Just when you think that you completely write them off, they come up and get a result. I mean, Liverpool this season would be absolutely kicking themselves how they managed to lose a game away to United twice in the FA Cup and the league, particularly when they're probably one of the poorest Premier League sides, poorest Manchester United sides in a long, long time. And I know Arsenal beat them 1-0, but Arsenal, I wouldn't say, were hanging on, but it should have been a lot more comfortable for them. So Man United can't turn up, can't get a result, can't give you a good, decent battle. Ten Hag's job is on the line. I think people are saying even if he wins the FA Cup, it might not be enough, but he definitely needs to win it. And there's going to be a lot of changes at Old Trafford this season.
No, can I come in there? No, I don't blame the head coach, Ten Hag, at all. We've been saying it last year, we've been saying it this year, and even just about Manchester United, but other clubs, Nottingham Forest, other clubs, behind the scenes, Manchester United are the shambles. What's going on there with that? You even look at, as I said, you look at the stadium. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? There was a heavy shower of rain or a wet day. The water was pouring into the stadium down top of the seats. It was like a non-league club. One of the finest stadiums in England. Do you know what I mean? That was just a perfect example of how behind the scenes everything is literally falling apart. And I don't blame the man. I think he's doing a brilliant job to somehow keep the show on the road and get into a final, because as the players, you can see them are indisciplined. There's trouble off the pitch. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's just my analysis. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think just on the stadium first, Paul, I think that's been something that's been said for years now, Manchester United. They said they've had a leaky roof. It's just at that particular time, they got an unbelievable shower near the end of the game, like a thunderspout altogether. And it just happened to be that the cameras were there. But I say there's been times when they've got heavy rain and nobody's been in the stadium, but they haven't been able to catch it on camera. They've been saying I think even I've seen a few rival fans say for years now at Old Trafford that there's leaks all over the place. I think even some people said even the toilets aren't the best in Manchester United and Old Trafford now. I think that stadium needs really, now it looks great on the outside, Paul. From the camera angles, over when you overhead the stadium, it looks a fantastic stadium. But inside, it needs a paint job. A lot of people are saying it needs huge amount of work done. The Glazers have just let it rot.
I was going to cut you. But the context is when the Glazers came in a number of years ago, what they did was they put up the assets of the club to back the loan, and they took money out of the club every single year they were there. And that caused a huge. So they invested a small bit in the players when Ferguson was there. When Ferguson was there, they covered over because he was able to win and drive them on personally. But as soon as he left, you could see what was happening. They're taking money out of the club every year. They're not. And you can see now the club is literally falling apart. And this is not happening in attack. Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs. They'll always be one of the biggest supported clubs across the world. Big stadium, but internally the whole thing is falling apart. You can see it, and it's shown on the pitch. But look, we're back to the final, so we shouldn't be. But that's just the context there.
Yeah. Just on the coach, I suppose. Look, I think maybe like you said, it might be unfair on him that he's taking all the hits for the Glazers, and I know Jim Ratcliffe is after coming in now. He's about 25% of the club. I think he's going to be making the football decisions. So you just don't know is that really help or hindrance. But if you look at the game, City should win it. I mean, a bit like last year, United will put up a good fight. It's at Wembley. It's the FA Cup after all. It's a great history. United, even though I think Arsenal are the ones that won the FA Cup the most, but I think United are up there as well. I think there might be two off it. I'm not sure, but I think it's very hard to see United actually winning it. To be quite honest with you, but stranger things have happened, Paul. City have beaten United home and away this season. They're going for a third time beating their local rivals. They've won the league. Eventually, will United crack and just say we're taking enough of the jibes from our neighbours down the road? So the fans would be absolutely demanding the performance and demanding the win for this, because I think Manchester United had it over for City for so long. They never saw City a threat. It was more Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, other teams that they were competing with. They never saw City a threat. But now the tables have completely turned, particularly since Fergie left. That gap is I don't think the gap will ever close in fan bases and stuff like that, to be honest with you. But I think City now are definitely the number one side of Manchester at the moment. Manchester side.
You're there now, you're gone.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, walk away.
I think if you ask me to call it, Paul, I say it'll probably be a 3-1 City win. I think that's probably the best analysis I can give. I think United will be competitive. I don't think City are going to steamroll or anything like that. It didn't happen last year, so I think City will win it 3-1, as I said earlier on.
Yeah, I suppose, is there any talk of how long Guardiola is going to stay at Manchester City? Because we don't know will that could even talk of that influence, because ultimately when he moves on, which he will do, and I think it'll happen in the next couple of years, that will be the big test of the Manchester City behind the scenes, because when a top manager, and we can leave aside all the financial stuff, that if the financial stuff hits, as the man says, hits the horse manure hits the fan, he could just walk away. You just don't know. But look so maybe now they'll try and win another trophy while things are still going well for him, because eventually at some stage things are going to start either he'll leave or this financial stuff will hit, but they're going to have to hit a rocky term. So maybe this is way of trying to win another trophy.
Yeah, Paul. I think Klopp leaving. I think Pep had good messages from him. He said he was probably his biggest rival for a number of years. I think he was asked after the game, what's your story? And I think he said, look, I'm definitely staying for next season, but he didn't commit for the year after or the year after that. He said, look, I've less time in front of me than behind me, if you get me, Paul. That's what he said. I think he's been here, 7 years? He's won 6 out of the last 7 league titles. So I say, Paul, if you ask me to call it, I say he'd be there for 2 more years. So next season, the season after, and I think he'll call it a day. To win 5 in a row, Paul, it's going to take an awful lot out of him if he can get the 5th.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the City are definitely going to lose their title. They've got 91 points this season, for God's sake. So, but I think it's going to be very hard to see City winning it 5 in a row. The 4 in a row has been done. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody ever probably do it again. Ferguson didn't do it. Wenger didn't do it. Mourinho didn't do it.
Bob Paisley didn't do it.
Bob Paisley, yeah. Shankly, even at Liverpool, I don't know how many Shankly won the Royal Liverpool. But look, I think it's taking a lot. This season probably going to take an awful lot over him. Klopp said he's running out of energy, he just can't do it anymore. I think it's so intense now with all the media spotlight. Maybe it was in the past. You're getting even after a game, Paul, you have to do 10 or 12 interviews to TV companies. I mean, it's draining, and I think the fact that he's still winning is probably keeping him going. But eventually, I do think he's going to take a year. He took a year out, don't forget, after Barcelona. And I think he took a year out after Munich as well. No, sorry, he kept going actually after Munich. So I think, I do think 2 more years will probably be enough for Pep. I think he'll call it in 2 years' time, in 2026, I'll say. That's what I just feel at the moment.
Yeah, and I think he'll try and win another Champions League, European Cup to get a second one. Yeah. Do everything he could.
Yeah, because I think people felt that Pep, if he didn't win the Champions League, he'd be seen as a failure. If he didn't win it,
no, it would always be a black mark against him in Man City.
Big time, and the fact that he's won 3. Don't forget, Ancelotti's won 4, and Ancelotti's going for 5. So Pep will always be. I think Pep will always be looking to chase records like that as well. and I think he wants to be known. I think he wants to be known as the best. So he's what. And Jossie, I think, is probably going to win his fifth in a couple of weeks' time. So that'll be something that Pep will probably aim for as well. But I think, yeah, I think for 7 seasons to win one Champions League is probably, people always seem to throw stones at him and whatever about his managerial career, because he's had the best clubs. But to be fair, he's been under huge pressure from clubs like Liverpool with Klopp, Arsenal this year, the last 2 years. He had the Real Madrid teams to contend with Mourinho and all that stuff. So he's had probably the best players, but he's had to manage the best players. And big egos, like I said, Paul, like there's big egos at Manchester United, and they've not been managed properly either. So, management is a huge deal. He's done very, very well. He's probably the best manager in England for a long, long time. And I think City will probably just win this FA Cup. But I think the big black mark is that 115 charges, like we said earlier on. And it's going to be very interesting in the next year or two what's going to happen with that. If they were to, say, get really punished, would Pep stay, or would you just walk away?
Yeah, that could be an excuse. We'll say maybe the season after next, if they got a 10 or a 20 point deduction at the start of the season, he could just walk and next thing. And if just one quick word to Manchester United, you go back to the early 70s when Matt Busby stepped away, but in 2 or 3 years, they went through a couple of managers and they actually got relegated. So I'm not saying this won't happen to Manchester United now, but when a big manager, a top manager, and Matt Busby was there for 20, 25 years, a standing manager, it happens in every club. It has happened with Ferguson leaving. It happens when Bob Paisley finished up in Liverpool after a few years. I know they had success with Dalglish, but they went over 20 years without winning again, or whatever, 20 how many years. So it happens to all the clubs. When a huge manager with huge success and is there for a long number of time, walks away or steps away, things can go downhill fast. So just a quick word on that for Manchester United. That's what they're facing too. Some of the younger Manchester United supporters don't know this, don't realise this and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Manchester United, I think they got relegated against Manchester City. There was the next Manchester United who actually scored a goal and sent them down. I forget his name. Dennis Law, that's it. Dennis Law got the goal that relegated.
I know, just for the record, some Manchester United said the supporters say he actually didn't put him down, but he got a famous goal anyway to show on television anyway. But move on to the general point you're making.
General point, the big thing, like that's what I say about Liverpool and with City, the Klopp and Pep have been 2 brilliant managers for the Premier League. They've been toe-to-toe for a number of times. Even this season, Liverpool did fall away, and Pep and then won the title by 2 points. But you're right. When it'll be very interesting to see what happens to Liverpool next season, and the next year or two, with City all their success, and sort of unfair in a way, Paul. But when someone like Pep leaves, the new guy is automatically compared to, well, are you going to be successful as Pep? And to be fair, I don't think it's possible, because to win 6 out of 7 English league titles, Pep himself said in an interview, if someone had said that to him before he stepped foot in Manchester, he would have thought you were crazy. So it's going to be very difficult for the new managers at Liverpool. Arne Slot, who looks like he's nailed on for the job, and whoever takes over from Pep in the next year or two, or maybe more. I just don't think. I just have a funny feeling he's not going to do more than 2 years, Paul. He's definitely there for next season, he said. But the season after that, or the year after as well, is going to be touch and go. So when City do eventually lose Pep, who are they going to get? And unfortunately, if he's not successful as Pep, which I don't think anyone can be, he's always going to be compared, and he's always going to be going a bit downhill. But they probably need reinvestment in the squad. De Bruyne is shoving on now. There's other players there that are not as good as they have been. De Bruyne is very injury prone at the moment. Phil Foden got the player of the year, and he stepped up big time. Haaland, of course, got 27 goals, and people say he had a bad season. So, the foundations are probably good at City, but Pep is the driving force of that club. That club was at Liverpool, so there's going to be a downturn at City eventually. Yeah. It's just when that's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.